So I'm going to give him a little bit more
But
credit for
he's
that.
still not invited to
But
the cookout.
period.
We're not
Like,
doing that.
because at the end of the
Stop
day,
doing that, y'all.
we know who you are. So this week is all about friendship boundaries and who's asking for what in these divorces.
And you got to protect your peace when these timelines get loud, and that's something I have to be more serious on. So.
Please, okay. But to be clear, I'm your host, Dawn Montgomery.
And it's your main man's Freddie BTV.
Okay, listen. It's always something new with this group of people, but we've got to have this talk. We've got to talk about it. Cardi B and her new man, Stephon Diggs, have been out and about lately. They've been doing soft launches, IG flirting, the whole thing. I think it's kind of cute, But now Offset is asking for spousal support in the divorce. Like, isn't the divorce already kind of like tough enough without adding, some drama to the mix? Because why would he be asking for spousal support?
I mean, you know how it is. People get divorced, they want to stick it to the other person. And Offset feel like he being slighted because her and Stephon went Instagram official. But the thing is low key, I think he probably knows. I think if you have any type of smartness about you, you kind of know, like Cardi B and Stephon. I think guys who watch the NFL really know Stephon Diggs ain't her man. Like, that's just something they just doing.
Why would you say that?
Okay, so if you watch, anybody who watch football, you seen this video. There was a video when Stephon Diggs played for the Vikings, and they asked everybody in the locker room, who is the guy on the team that you would not want to talk to your sister? 95.5% of the locker room said Stephon Diggs.
Okay.
Stephon Diggs is known as the future of the NFL.
Okay, so
sensational.
I just think Cardi B likes her men experienced. I'm just gonna say that.
Hey, yo.
And as far as I can say, I don't think everybody that's going through a divorce is trying to stick it to the other person. If I may speak on my personal experience, that was not how I went into that. It was more so like, can we just go ahead and just separate this and we're good? And it took us a little while to get there, but when we got there, we did it amicably. Like, it's something that literally, if you want to be done, you will make sure you do what needs to be done for it to be done. And I don't want nobody jumping in the comments, well, you're not Cardi B, you're not famous, but baby, we got assets. So we there was something to be discussed about, separating those things and all the things, which generally in celebrity divorces, that's a conversation, right? You get this house, I get this car, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we can talk about Tiana Taylor and Iman or whatever. So, yeah. But moving on, I think another part of this is more so Offset's attitude towards all of this. I just think he's jealous at this point. And I think for a lot of men who are separating from said partner, I think you all have to really learn how to be okay with people moving on. I think men move on quicker than women do, but in this situation, from what we can kind of see, Cardi B is moving on at her own pace. I think men move on quicker than women do.
No.
Anyway, like I said, Offset responded with a now deleted tweet that said, "Good rollout NPR," followed by a cryptic video post, which I'm like, was that necessary?
So to your point, which you just said, like, this is a prime example of women move on faster than men. Because the thing is when a woman's done, check it out. Go ahead.
Are you forgetting that he was with some new artist or somebody after they had separated the first time? Are you forgetting that?
He didn't move on from Cardi,
and then the second time there was something else. Like, he initially at every turn has been the person to be seen with other people. Here it is. Okay, now you can go.
I'm gonna tell you something about dudes. Like, so,
I don't know.
like, because we seeing right now, Offset ain't moved on from Cardi B. Dudes, the thing is Offset don't got no D discipline. He just ain't got no D discipline. Offset got like 9 kids now. He got 3 with her. D discipline. The eggplant discipline. I'm trying not to get bleeped. Because Tiara, our producer, she was like, she about to get on to me right now. Her brow's kicking up right now. So he ain't got no eggplant discipline. He just be busting everything down, but he still love him for Cardi B. Cardi B is starting to, like, once a woman lets go,
we're done.
It's
we
a wrap,
completely
Chief.
Done.
She moved on.
I feel like
and he be like, no, baby, please, baby, please. I ain't gonna cheat no more, baby, please, come on.
Like, if he genuinely loved her, he would shut his mouth and figure out how to handle this amicably behind closed doors versus acting out the way that he is. It's social media. People are gonna post what they're doing in real time. It is what it is. He's been acting
He's
a
hurt.
fool.
He's hurt.
Okay, see a therapist. All right.
Oh my God. Well, look, one thing about them, Cardi B and Offset, they're gonna have some stuff kicking up. But y'all let us know. Is y'all agree with Don? Y'all agree with your main man Freddie
Team
B?
Cardi.
Like, what y'all let us know. Hop in them comments, let us know. Y'all team Cardi, y'all team Offset, or you team Stephon Diggs? Please tell me you're not. We'll holler at you in them comments.
So Todd Chrisley was pardoned a few weeks ago. And now he's calling out the racial disparities he saw in prison. He said on camera that young Black men were being denied basic prison programming and resources that he, a white man, wasn't. And there's so many people that are praising him for saying this, but we've been saying that. Like, we've been saying that. Like, why does it have to come from him in this moment? And then he was on Fox News saying this, So I kind of want to give only credit to the fact that he's speaking to his audience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know. I like him saying on Fox News.
You're not telling us that. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you're not telling us anything that we don't already know.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and that's what you said is 100% key. Because I'm so tired of people, like, they'll come in front of Black people and say a bunch of stuff that we know to kind of get on our good side. Like, hey, look, I'm down with y'all. Look, da-da-da. No. Don't tell Black people. We know that. Like I said in previous episodes, PTSD, we dealing with it. We sit with it. Go tell your people that.
We've been saying that in
Tell the Caucasians that. Tell them that.
Tell the All Lives Matter people. like bring them in and let them know. Like, this is what's going on. Because I think even if he wants to be this poster child of, coming out and saying these things. And to be honest with you, this man has actually said some things in support of Black people in general. He has done that before. So I'm going to give him a little bit more credit for that.
He's still not invited to the cookout.
Period.
He's not doing that.
Because at the end of the day.
Stop doing that, y'all.
We know who you are. But there's a deeper conversation along these lines of like how, certain resources we don't have access to or things are being stripped from us as Black people. But we've seen a couple comments around reparations and what does reparations look like today. Now, I didn't see the connection in, Todd Chrisley saying what he's saying about Black men in jail to reparations, but I think there's, like I said, a deeper conversation of how do we get what we're supposed to get, right? And so Tulsa just made headlines with a bold move, though, launching $100 million private reparations trust for descendants of the 1921 race massacre, led by their new Black mayor, Monroe Nichols. I think that's huge. Now, could it be more money? Yes. But I will say I think that's a start, especially after seeing how California just kind of shot down an opportunity to create a fund around reparations and doing some things around dealing with, the free Black people or what have you in that area. And I think politically speaking, the language around reparations has to change in order for it to be something that could be considered across both party lines and then passed. But I think this is a start, right? So we see something being done. We see some money being put aside. So maybe this will get the ball rolling. But in the midst of that, does this also mean that we'll really start paying attention to what resources we've been lacking? Because if that's the case, our HBCUs need their money.
Yeah, I went to Tennessee State University, which, some of y'all may know. And that's been a whole big thing about the state of Tennessee not allocating their money that they've had. And we've had Harold Love. He's down there doing some good work and trying to get that passed through. But what they're doing now is like we've had like a lot of president turnover.
Yeah,
a lot of president turnover.
I'm so glad you said that because I'm literally angry about how that's happening across the South with our HBCUs. But go ahead.
And so what they're trying to do is destabilize the HBCU so that then the state has to come in and take it over. And so now the HBCU it's almost like the African countries.
Yeah.
Like you got a lot of African countries that have so many different resources. And what I like about one thing I do want to highlight, Burkina Faso, they got their leader. He's really taking the bull by the horns and like taking things back because a lot of African countries, they have these resources, but they were under colonial rule.
Gotcha.
And the colonial powers siphon the resources through the president through corruption. And that's kind of like the same deal that's looking like they're trying to do with the HBCUs, which is unfortunate because like they got that light and it's like really trying to bring that back. And so with the reparations, I think that's a good start with
right,
Tulsa.
but they also see our young people are really going to our schools, so now they're having to provide funding. They're having to give these schools the money that they need, or if they don't, if they're private HBCUs, they're trying to figure out where they're getting their funding and all the things. But it's one of those things where it's like you've got to pay attention to when states want to come in and take over things, right? So in the midst of this, no matter what, this is all linked because basically the state is trying to control and have control over what we do with ourselves, our bodies, and what we have access to as resources. So I think this is, I thought that this was a great way to kind of like mention what's happening in Tulsa and maybe what's probably going to grow from that.
Yeah, Tulsa needs that because that race massacre back then, oh my, just read about it. If you haven't read about that, please go read about what happened in Tulsa. But y'all jump in the comments, let us know what y'all think about reparations. Is it time for it? Is it not? Or what does reparations look like? I've heard so many different things. Cash payouts, 40 acres and a mule, tax rebates. Let us know what y'all think.
We got to switch gears a little bit here. I don't know about you, but Freddie, in general, my timeline is always very chaotic. It goes from serious to unserious.
All of us.
But this past couple of weekends, I've seen this theme around this conversation of Shaq. Like it came up on my FYP or whatever, but in general, to me, I'm like, it's a deeper conversation because I end up looking in the comments and paying attention to what people are saying. But basically, Shaq had told the Today Show, we don't need another basketball player in the family at all. And like he was very adamant in how he said it, which the uproar is more so like, why would Shaq say that when he has kids and they should be playing basketball and blah, blah, blah. But then on the flip side of that, there are people who are like, yeah, we don't need another black kid playing sports and blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. But to me, like, even if we bring it into the music industry, like, I think I was thinking of T.I. and his two sons. Now, I know he has more than one, more than two, but more so like how they are both in the industry, but they do almost like different genres of music, right? And I think it's so important that if T.I. wanted them not to be in the industry, he could have said the same thing, like go do something else, right? But if you're going to be in the industry, I think this gives them the space to kind of create their own path, right? Versus actually following in the footsteps of their father, i.e. same situation with Shaq. Like, is there anybody in the family that wants to be a sports attorney? Or is there anybody that wants to be a sports agent? Is there anybody that wants to actually own a team or put some money behind team ownership? Like those type of things. Like, can we have deeper conversations about other ways that you can participate in sports, but it doesn't look like you have to be an athlete like your father?
Right. I think, and I think Shaq is realizing what a lot of my Caucasian brothers and sisters realize, because a lot of them, they'll play sports and they try to go to the NBA, but they're also picking up and looking at other things, and they have no problem like getting to college, like, it don't look like I'm going to make it to the NBA. I'm going to go ahead and bow out, and then they'll become the graduate assistant at their college, work their way up. 15 years later, they the head coach at Duke. They making millions of dollars. But a lot of my black brothers and sisters, they like push into the NBA, and it's NBA or bust. And they'll try to push. They'll go overseas and try to play and try to do all this type of stuff. And they'll live this fractured life, jumping from Greece to China, to all these different, not able to put down roots and build anything when you could have been a coach, bro. You could have. You're a great player. You know the game. You could have been a coach. And I think that's what Shaq is getting at. And also, Shaq is one of the top 10 best NBA players ever. And he's seeing like that's pressure on his kids. It's like, them trying to live up to that is damn near impossible. You know what I mean? It
is. And then also, too, I think, even if we look at LeBron's kids, like that space that's being held for them, it's like, okay, maybe one kid isn't as athletically inclined as another kid per se, but in general, it's like, okay, what other opportunities are you actually presenting your kid? Because even if you don't want them to solely focus in on sports, are you giving them other experiences that show them behind the scenes in the sports industry, right? Or other things. Like, I think that's one of the beautiful things that I do with my middle son, because he is so like, I'm gonna play sports. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'm gonna do it. I'm like, oh, okay. You could also be over here and be an attorney because your father is an attorney, right? But but in light of that, it's like your father is this known attorney around Metro Atlanta, but he does not practice sports law. He does not do sports contracts, things like that. So that's something that you could easily come in with your experience as an athlete as you get older and say, oh, well, I can go to law school so I can be the person that sits at the table to make these deals. Like, there's money there. So, it's like, are we raising kids for legacy or freedom? Because also, too, when we're creating our legacies, we have to create the freedom for them to figure out what it is that they want to do and not put too much pressure on them.
100%. And it's Pride Month, and so I have to mention this.
Pride.
Magic Johnson's son, EJ, he should be in the NBA.
Listen,
He's somebody. Look, let me tell you something. I was in the club in New York.
This went completely
It's
over.
Pride Month. I got to bring this up.
No.
I was in the club with EJ one time,
God, EJ.
and I saw him. I was like, "Who is this tall ass dude?"
EJ,
he had on
baby.
heels too.
EJ is beautiful. EJ is doing what they want to do.
Listen, what I'm trying to tell you.
And at this point, we're gonna wrap this up.
Listen, what I'm trying to tell you. This dude did a pirouette, dropped it back, and popped back up in stiletto heels. The agility it takes to do what he did at 6'8", 6'9". This boy, he should be the first LGBTQIA plus ABC in the NBA right now, killing it.
And now he's messing up the letters. Just comment.
He should be killing it.
Okay,
it's
y'all.
Pride Month.
I'm gonna take over for Freddie right now. Please
Y'all
leave in the comments.
Y'all let us know, man.
Let us know how you
tell
feel.
me in my line. Hop in the comments. Y'all know. Tell me in my line. Hop in the comments. Tell me.
Now, see, this is why I love Talk to Me Nice. I've been waiting to get into something like this as a woman who's serious about my business and my peace, okay? So this is super important. I felt this one.
Yeah, you serious about your business.
Listen, so in the Okayplayer DM, someone said, to be clear, that's us. I'm a college junior thinking about starting a nail business with my roommate and line sister. I don't even want to know what your sorority is, so we're not even going to go there. The only reason why I say that is because depending on how we respond, we don't need everybody coming. But back to the letter. We've always said we'd build something together, and now we finally have an idea and we're excited about it. Okay, remember, she's a college junior, right? But here's the thing. I'm starting to notice our work styles are very different, period. I'm always on go, and they're way more laid back. I'm worried that if things get tough, it could lead to resentment or even mess up our friendship. Should I move forward with the business or protect the friendship and let the idea go? Signed, I'm just a girl. Okay, so here's what I would do. All right. You're already seeing some red flags.
Are they red flags though?
So, okay, on one hand, they may not be, because if you're an avoidant person, you would see that as red flags and you'd be like, okay, I'm not doing it. But if you want to really work with your friends, one of the things that you have to learn how to do is communicate. So when you see something is different, people have different work styles. They want to work early or they want to work late, blah, blah, blah. Can you just come to an agreement on when everybody works or when everybody comes together to talk about things? Create a business plan, creating a business plan and outlining everyone's roles. First and foremost, that helps hold people accountable. Also finding an attorney or even a law student who can probably draw up a contract.
There we go. Now
like to where it's like, if we have this many disagreements, then we have to stop the business or we have to go out to seek, greater legal counsel or something. Like, it's like there's ways where you can hold each other accountable and put it in writing, because that's what sticks in court. Whether somebody's getting sued over something in regards to the business, the first thing they're going to ask is, well, did you all document, your plan for the business? Who has, a percentage of ownership? Who owns more in the business? Because this is 3 people. 33%, somebody got to be 34%. You do the math.
I mean, it'd be 33 and a third.
So it's like, but even if you don't want to do that, it's like you still have to figure out who has more say in all of this. And if this is you coming to them, then more so you're going to take it upon yourself to say, I brought this together. I brought us together. This is something that I thought of and all of that. Because also you've got to figure out website, name. If you have the money to trademark, if you are creating an LLC or a business name, all these things that you have to file with the state, who's paying for that? Because most of the times, whoever paid for those things, they end up in court saying, oh, well, that person paid for that. So they might have more say in this than everybody else. So I think that's how I would deal with it. On one hand, I would say if you're an avoidant person, you just don't want to go there, then just don't. But in general, I think on the flip side of things, you would have to put something in writing first and foremost.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Definitely, you got 3 people. First thing, you got to figure out who's the controlling owner.
Yeah.
So to your point, like all these different things are paid for. So, because you got to have one person to lead. I had this conversation with somebody. They was like, "Oh, you can have multiple people. You can have co-leaders." No, you got to have one leader. The example I love to use is Nordstrom's. Nordstrom's, they had one CEO, one leader, somebody to lead, and then they decided to have co-leaders. As soon as they had co-leaders, their stock started to free fall. They started to fall, and then they went back to, okay, we got one person leading. So even a marriage is still a business. You got to have somebody to lead. You want to draw up contracts. You want to draw up stuff to where we got something to refer to. This is what we're going to do. You know what I mean? This is how we're going to handle things. And so you got to do that like this. Who's the controlling owner? Who's doing what? This is the contract. I own 51%. You own this, and this. So when we go to court, if God forbid, but if we do, we got paperwork. Boom. Yeah. This is what was supposed to happen, and you didn't do that. So here, claw my money back. Claw my stuff back.
So don't worry. Just get started. Sit down and have a conversation. Come to an agreement about what y'all want to do to get started, and then put that in writing. Exactly. Let's start there.
Business and friendship separated right now. But y'all let us know. Have you ever done a business with your friends? You ever lived with a friend? You ever signed a lease with a friend? Y'all let us know how that turned out. I don't like it. You like it?
I'm cool with it. I've walked away from businesses with friends and stuff like that. And didn't hold nothing against them.
Yeah, I don't like it. But do you like it? Yeah or nay? Hop in the comments, let us know.
Okay, so Freddie, we know this. I stay on IG and Twitter or X,
I gotta
whatever it is. And whatever the children are calling that platform. And I think it's fair to say that we both spend enough time on some of these platforms in general. But for both of us being in media, that balance can be a little tricky. And I think for me, I'm like, okay, there are some days I can do it, and I have I can't be no screen. I can't be on the phone. I can't do nothing. And that means everything else is just dropped, right? So how do you?
I want to hear this from you.
No, I was just
how do you protect your peace while scrolling? Because you, ma'am, the floor is yours, Dawn, and we got to hear this.
I do this.
How does Dawn protect her peace?
So me personally, I think people really don't understand that I genuinely post and go. Now, you might see me for a hot minute, especially on my timeline on Twitter. I might post something, and I'm going to go 1 or 2 spaces down, scroll a little bit, retweet, quote, say something, catch something from yesterday, blah, 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 because I'm behind generally. And then I might post 1 or 2 more tweets, and then I'm putting that down. And then I might be on Instagram and I'm, posting something in real time on my stories or highlighting something that's funny. And then I'm putting that down. Baby, TikTok barely sees me, but it's growing over there for me. So I'm checking in over there when I can. I'm still on Blue Sky in some capacity between Blue Sky. That's a whole nother platform that's kind of similar to Twitter or whatever. Yeah, because when everybody was jumping ship from Twitter, Blue Sky and Spill were the thing. So Spill is the Black-owned platform. And so I tiptoe everything in there every once full moon, you know what I'm saying? But I think in general, I pick and choose which platforms I want to be on based on engagement in a lot of the conversations that are being had. And I think a lot of times Twitter is extremely toxic. It is. So one of the things that I do is after I've engaged with either Twitter or all of these platforms, I'm like, okay, well, shit, you got a life to live after all this. So why don't you just put it down? Literally putting the phone down. You see how I put my cards down? Yeah. You see how I'm looking at you and I'm having a conversation? Yeah. Real life.
Touch grass.
It's literally that. And I think people don't really understand, you can be in this business and you can do what you need to do and still be on top of things. I think that's what surprises people too when I'm in daily conversation and they're like, oh, but you wasn't tweeting that day. I've actually had people, other journalists tell me if a topic came up in conversation, they were probably looking for me to respond, but I never responded to it. But in conversation in real life, I have all the things to say because I know about it or I, did some research on it, but I don't have to post that online. A lot of this stuff that people posting online should be in a group chat.
Good job.
Yeah, because I almost said something. It should be in a group chat. And then I think a lot of times for me, I go viral the most because most of my takes and perspectives are outlandish. It's just or it's different. So, that's generally how I do it. I either go out and go touch grass or I just literally leave it alone.
I've been trying to do better while not arguing in the comments because I like people who know me. I be on my phone. I really get into it. I be like this. They be like, "Who are you arguing with now, Freddie?" Like I be because like people be saying stuff. I be wanting to say stuff, and and like So I've been trying to do better with that. Because it can wear on you. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It can wear, and it wears on me sometimes. And I've been doing better by not just really being in the comments. And so, hopefully I can continue to here's to doing better, Freddie B. Here's to doing better, guys.
Cheers.
But y'all jump in the comments. Y'all let us know what y'all think. Like, how do you protect your peace? Do you get caught doom scrolling at night? You supposed to be asleep and everything is dark, but it's you on your phone. Is that you? Or, or how do you control it? So hop in the comments, let us know.
So to be clear, setting boundaries online or off isn't selfish. It's necessary.
Yes, it is very necessary. And to be clear, your peace is priceless. Freddie, your peace is priceless. And I got to do better about protecting it. And y'all join me in that journey as well. But if reparations on the table, we'll take a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that as well, because it's about that time. You feel me?
Like, comment, and subscribe. And let us know, what boundaries are you setting this summer? I don't think I'm going to have any.
It's a hot girl summer. Y'all heard it here first, y'all. Like always, shout out to our Okayplayer family, OK Africa, and everybody else along the line. Shout out to y'all, and we'll see y'all next Tuesday.